What's going on, guys? I just got the approval from STM. They were nice enough to let me borrow their warband real quick so that I could go over some of the events, and then I also want to go over the daily quests, things that I like to do every day, and try to push as high as I can to make sure that I get the most rewards for my time spent playing the game. So the first thing I want to go over is the daily quests. As you can see, the server just reset, so none of my daily quests are completed. But as you can see here, I have 0 tally. And then the tally is important because that's how you unlock each one of the different chest levels here. So you've got your wood, your iron, your silver, your gold, and then your diamond chest. As you can see, if you tap on each chest, you can see just for the wood one, I'd get 4.4k Lord XP. That doesn't sound like a lot, but this character is also only a castle level 12. My main, I believe, gets upwards of around 10k Lord XP per. And then you also see I get a few other rewards right now. I'm getting pure water because it is during the splash event for the Thai holiday. So most of the time you won't have to worry about that. But the first 3 chests will give you Lord XP. That one will give me 11k. Very important that you try and push through and get those as best as you can. Every day you want to at least shoot for that 72 tally. The 96 tally one does give you a little bit of gold. It's helpful, especially if you you're free to play. You don't really spend a whole lot of money. Every little bit of gold counts. So you do want to try and push for that 96 as often as possible. And then the final one over here, you'll get a Hero Shard chest, which can contain an S-rank Hero Shard. Very, very good. And then you'll see the Crusaders route, which is actually a treasure map, and I'm going to go through here in a minute and go through the treasure maps and show you guys what those do and things like that. At the bottom here, you can see the different quests that it's having me do. So Tech Power, I'm going to go ahead and tap into that. Increase your Lord's power by 8. So, as I get every 8 power that I get, it'll increase my progress by 1 and give me a total of 3 tally. So you'll want to try and go through, and you want to collect as many of these as you possibly can. Like I said, at least the 72 a day. If you can push for a little bit higher, that's great. I would never spend more than 70 gold if possible on doing these, because again, you only get 70 gold for the daily quests, so you don't want to use too much gold when you're not getting it back. The object obviously is you want to try and make as much as you possibly can for free without having to spend anything. We're going to go ahead and move forward into the Daily Rush event. Today's Daily Rush, as I said, it just reset. So today's Daily Rush, there's a few different things that you're going to want to look at whenever you come here. The first one is how many points you're required for the Tier 3. Like I said, my castle level is level 12, so my point requirement is only 393,000 for my Tier 3 rewards. And you can see each of the tier rewards down here at the bottom. If you just tap and hold it down while you scroll, you can see just for unlocking the Tier 3 rewards, I would get 180 gold total. That's pretty nice, especially that that's once a day. Just for doing usually your standard stuff. You don't actually have to put anything major into it. As you can see here, recruiting troops, I would get, which is standard daily stuff. Just for this tier, for example, level 4, because that's what I'm at, I would get 310 points for every level 4 troop trained. Very easy to finish out that event. That's about about 1,400 troops, and I would have the entire event finished, at least through the point rewards that are required for me. The other big thing to note is the chest up here in the corner. This will show you the ranking rewards that you'll get from 1 through 50. Usually my goal is I want to spend less than whatever I would get from the event. So I already know I'm getting 180 gold just for completing my 3 rewards, but if I only place in 21 to 50, I'm only getting an extra 70 gold. So at that point, if I spend more than 250 gold to place in the event, it hasn't become worth it because I'm still losing gold for mediocre gains. Usually, for the most part, you'll never really shoot to try and place in rank 1 in these events. If it happens while you're doing your daily upgrading and stuff, that's awesome. I would never really spend gold to try and place in first place because you're not getting nearly as much as you're probably spending to get back. The next event I want to talk about is Conquest. Now, as I said, STM was nice enough to let me borrow their Conquest and their warband so I could show off the Conquest screen. The first big focal point is up here in the top left corner. If you tap on those little buildings, it'll tell you what each one of them is. You can see they have 0 towns, they have 3 fortresses, 3 strongholds, and 0 citadels. There are only 4 citadels in the game. If you look over here on the left, Dragon City is owned by OLS, and that's what one of the citadels is. Those give the most rewards, but they're also the highly contested ones for the Game of Thrones event, which I'll be doing a video on later. The next big thing is you'll see over here on the tax section, they are actually getting some pretty nice taxes. Unfortunately, it won't let me pull up what exactly those are, but you can see right here those coins that they're getting. Those are actually for the Conquest event shop. They're getting a few different rewards that are tributes that you can use for your warband, upgrading a warband as well as trading for resources. And then they're getting some farmland boosts and then some resources and such like that. And they actually are getting a little bit of grain as well. All the rewards that you'll get for your daily tax change depending on which cities that you occupy, and then those rewards will also go up the more cities that you occupy. So, if you have a warband, try and push as many conquests you always want to hold. You can see they can hold 6 occupation, so they can hold 6 total cities. You want to own as many high-tier cities as you can, but you always want to make sure that you have full occupation for your conquest. Over here you can also see the shop button. The event shop for the Conquest itself is very nice. You can see they're getting that it'll offer you some some A shards, and then obviously your Caesar shards. The Caesar shards are permanent. Every single time you refresh the page, or it refreshes automatically a daily reset, those Caesar shards will reappear. The Tomiris and the King Keong shards, those will rotate through, so I'll go ahead and show you guys. I'll go ahead and buy these. Always make sure you buy your Caesar shard, and I'll refresh that, and you can see King Keong changed to Saad's. So you always want to make sure you come in here. Buying the hero shards is top priority whenever you come to the event shop. You always want to try and get at least the 3 sets of hero shards. Sometimes you'll pick up some nice things like a 5-minute build speed up here. You can also get some materials, crafting materials from the Conquest shop. Overall, very beneficial. You want to make sure you're coming through. As you can see, I have 54,000 points. I don't really play this character, so I don't really bother to use all of these points here. But definitely want to come through every day. If possible, after reset, come through and check. Make sure that you pick up at least your Caesar shard at a minimum, and then pick up any other shards that you can pick up. I'll be making a video on why those shards are so important, probably either later tonight or tomorrow. The next event I want to talk about is the Lost Temple event. Now you can see here it's not going to start for another 24 days, so unfortunately it's actually completely empty. But the way the Lost Temple event works is after the event starts, every few hours it's going to spawn, or when the event starts, it's going to spawn a bunch of ruins that people can take. There's a small ruin, there's a medium ruin, and there's a large ruin. And there's usually a bunch of medium ruins and a bunch of small ruins. On this screen, normally it would show you the location of any large ruins and any medium ruins. So you would want to try and take those as best as you can. Usually if it comes to large ruins, you're not really going to want to waste the time doing those. They take 2 hours to gather for 120,000 event points, which sounds really nice, but they're usually really highly contested. The top warbands are fighting over those pretty heavily, and because of the time that it takes to gather those, out of the 120,000 points that I would get, I only need 18,000 to actually finish the event. And there's no real benefit besides ranking that you'll get for doing anything higher. For most new players, I would recommend try and push for that 18,000 points, whether it be on small or medium ruins, and then move on and go back to gathering and stuff like that. Again, you're trying to optimize the most rewards that you get for your time spent playing. A small ruin will give you 1,000 points, a medium ruin gives you 10,000 points, and the large ruins will give you 120,000 points. They also scale up in how long it takes. A small ruin takes 30 minutes to gather, a medium ruin takes 40 minutes to gather, and a large ruin takes 2 hours to gather. You can see here, I'm going to go ahead and open up the ranking screen. You can see for first place, THA Sergio today, last event, got 3k gold, 6k of the Lost Temple points, and 1 million timber. Ranking, if possible, is always very nice. That is a pretty hefty amount of gold to get, especially for a free event that happens every 5 days, I believe. If you can place, it'd be awesome. But like I said, for the most part, you want to get your 18,000 or however many thousand points it takes, and then you'll want to move on and continue on with your regular daily play. There is an event shop for this one as well. You can see I don't have any event points on this character. And you come here and you buy your materials. So these materials is the best way to get materials for your foraging and crafting and stuff like that, which I'll be going over in a different video as well. The last event, because I'm not going to cover too much on Solo Rush or Game of Thrones today, is the Trader's Raid event. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this. The Trader's Raid event is a PvE event, which is player versus environment. And what that is each one of these cities, you can see here, STM does own 6 different cities, and you can see how many troops that they can hold. In those cities, when the event starts, it's going to launch rebels consistently at those cities, and they have to defend the city from losing. You can see that their difficulty that they set that at was hard this time, and the rewards, they got 11.3k event points, they got a bunch of silver coins there, they got their daily tax again, and the reason that's important is because that changes based on which cities they own. So your daily tax should match pretty close to what you have for your conquest, and then you can see they also got a pretty hefty amount of grain and timber there, and those obviously are sent to everybody in the warband, so it's beneficial that you try your best to participate in Trader's Raid. As usually it's as simple as just popping into the city, sending some troops to garrison it, and then you really don't have to do a whole lot else. So definitely beneficial. You want to help out with your warband there. There is a ranking reward. You can see here OLS Sick and STM Kesseran, actually a couple of STM players, they placed in the top, so they got quite a few extra Trader's Raid shop points, and then a pretty healthy amount of grain there. The warbands, everybody in the warband also gets 400 for STM's sake, or even THA's, they got 500 or 400 event coins, a pretty hefty amount of merit, which is used in the warband shop, and then a decent amount of grain, and that is sent to everybody that was involved in the warband. And then there was also the warband specific, so this is only showing the members of STM that participated in the event. This is going to give them even more event shop points, some more grain, and some timber. The Trader's Raid event shop is very beneficial. The Trader's Raid event shop is the best place to go if you're trying to find 3-star skills. So you can see here I do have the Iron Output Mastery skill available. I have an Artillery Attack. I have a couple sets of skill books here, Recruit Speed Up, and then I'm going to go ahead and just refresh this, and you can see that it changes. These top two are usually, for the most part, a 3-star skill. Usually this one right here that I just tapped on, where the Our Troops Defense shard is, that one is usually some sort of 3-star or even 2-star shard. Most of the time it's usually a rare skill. And then these two right here are almost always going to be XP books, that you can use to increase the level of those skills. Very, very important. You want to use those to try and bump up your heroes as best as possible. So make sure, obviously these events don't happen every single day. Conquest, you can see, happens every other day. Daily Rush, participate in every single day. That one's usually pretty standard, just doing stuff that you normally would. Lost Temple is a 5-day thing. Not the most important, but you do want to try and get those event points at least up to your cap. And then you'll move on and go back to your regular daily routine. And then Trader's Raid happens usually every 4 days, and you'll want to participate in that without a doubt. Those hero skill books do get quite important as you move on through the game. That's everything I have for you guys today. Thank you for your time.